Now, some breaking news coming in from the United States, where another Indian has been shot dead outside his residence in South Carolina. According to the reports, victim 43-year-old Harnish Patel was shot and killed in the yard of his house soon after he closed his convenience store last night. Local police say he was shot twice. Two shell casings were found outside the home. Police are probing the case, and police say robbery could be a likely motive, but they don't have evidence yet, and a police dog could not pick up any scent to help police on the case. A sign at the door of Patel's store at Lancaster says it has been closed due to a family emergency. Neighbours reported hearing 3 gunshots last night outside Patel's home on Craig Manor Road in Lancaster. The killing comes just a week after another Indian, Srinivas Kuchibhotla, was shot dead at a bar in Kansas. Well, that is the latest breaking news that we have coming in. A 43-year-old Indian origin store owner in the U.S. has been shot dead outside his home, and this comes just days after an Indian engineer was killed in Kansas in a hate crime shooting that sent shockwaves across the country. Now, Harnish Patel, the victim here, is a 43-year-old, the owner of a convenience store in Lancaster County, South Carolina. Now, to talk more on this, we are joined by our senior correspondent Ramesh Ramachandran. Ramesh, another shooting of an Indian origin person in the U.S. What more details can you share with us at this stage?
Indeed, Sahil, this is the second instance of an Indian American being targeted, and it comes barely 10 or 11 days after the unfortunate gunning down of Srinivas Kuchibhotla at Kansas. Now, what we are getting to hear is very sketchy and preliminary at the moment. Reports suggest that, as reports quoting the sheriff of Lancaster County Police say that they have no reason to believe that this was racially motivated. So they are, on the face of it, treating it as a robbery at the moment. But that said, suspicions do arise in the minds of many in America and also around the world, especially in India, given the spate of attacks targeting Indian Americans and immigrants in general in the U.S. in the past few months. As we have been reporting here on WION, the Indian national Indian engineer Srinivas Kuchibhotla was gunned down at Kansas on the 22nd of February. A day later, on the 23rd, we actually saw an Indian American woman being assaulted, racially abused on a New York subway train. And this is not like a isolated case, because there have been several instances of Sikh men, Indian American men, being targeted in the year 2013, and especially in places like California and Florida. So things are not looking up for the Indian American. It remains to be seen what the local police officials eventually determine, whether it's a racially motivated attack or not. Sahil?
Ramesh, we'll come back to the fact if this is racially motivated or not, but any word on the suspect who committed the shooting as of yet?
No, absolutely no word at the moment on who the suspect might be. All we are given to understand is that 43-year-old Harnish Patel used to run a convenience store in Lancaster in South Carolina, and he was returning home when he was shot dead, and his body was dumped in a yard outside his home. And this happened on Thursday, South Carolina time, which means Friday morning India time. So it's been a day and a half since he was killed. And as I mentioned before, the Lancaster County Police Sheriff, Barry Fail, is quoted as saying that he doesn't have any reason to believe that this was racially motivated. Now, incidentally, South Carolina was the governor of South Carolina until very recently was an Indian American woman, Nikki Haley, who has since gone on to become the U.S. ambassador to the UN.
Okay, Ramesh, as of this stage, obviously we don't know if this is a hate crime or not. The sheriff there is saying that it just might be a robbery. But despite that, tensions are extremely high within the Indian community, especially after Kuchibhotla's murder.
Indeed, Sahil, we've been speaking here on WION with many members of the Indian American community, extending from the West Coast to the East Coast, and the consensus among the Indian Americans in particular is that this is not a particularly good time for the immigrant community, especially given a spate of racist attacks or hate crimes targeting immigrants in particular. Now, that said, under the previous administration, under President Obama, we saw the African American community come under attack, and this time under Trump, we are seeing the target being the immigrants in general, and in this case, in particular, In the case of Kuchibhotla, for instance, we saw Adam Purinton, who was a Navy veteran, accused of first-degree murder by gunning down Srinivas Kuchibhotla and also attacking two others, including another Indian American, Alok Marasani, and an American national, Ian Grillett, who both have survived but with injuries. So clearly things are not looking up for the immigrant community in general in the US. Sahil?
Okay, Ramesh, I think we'll leave it there for now, but thank you so much for your perspective, and we'll keep coming back to you as and when there are more updates on this story.